Well, hello, everybody. I saw some familiar faces on here. I know some of you guys are already signed up for the tour and coming to get a little more information. Um, so, my name is Randi Dixon, and I am the COO and CFO of Best Cruises and Tours. I also have the pleasure of serving as one of our primary tour guides. So, not only do I help plan these incredible trips, but I often travel alongside our clients to make sure their vacation experience exceeds their expectations. For over 30 years, we have planned memorable travel experiences for our clients all over the world. And today we're really excited to talk about one of our most popular and fastest growing destinations, which is the national parks. First of all, and most importantly, I want to thank all of you for taking your time today to attend our National Parks webinar. I'd love to introduce you to my co-hosts today, Justyna and Andrew from Globus. Justyna will be joining us a little later in the presentation to tell you a bit about Globus, our tour supplier and partner for all of our national parks programs. And Andrew has been guiding national parks tours for Globus for over 30 years. He and I will be co-escorting our custom parks tour, and he'll be joining us later to go over the itinerary in detail. So a bit of housekeeping for this event, all participants will be muted. If you have a question, you can use the Q&A at the bottom of your Zoom window. You can type in questions at any time, and at the end of the presentation, we'll go over as many of those as we have time for. Also, after the webinar, you will get an email from us with links to everything I'm about to go over. It will include pricing, departure dates, details about our special offers, and our contact information. And of course, if we haven't gotten to your question, please feel free to give us a call. So we're here tonight because you are interested in learning about the national parks as a travel destination. There seems to be this gap between dreaming about the national parks and actually planning the trip. People know they want to go, but there's so many choices, routes, details. The process can feel really overwhelming. You can always try to do it yourself. You can go on the internet or engage AI or Google US National Parks. You can try to figure out which parks you want to go to, plan out a route, research hotels, which by the way, are usually booked years in advance, and try to book different excursions in different locations. Or you can call one of the travel suppliers directly and speak to one of their hourly employees who may or may not have ever been to a national park. But if you want to make your national parks trip a lifetime experience, you are in the right place. So today we're going to talk about the national parks. We're going to go over my custom America's West National Parks tour itinerary, and we'll discuss some alternative tours. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Best Cruises and Tours and who we are. We'll talk a little bit about Globus. We'll go over our special offers that we have for you, and hopefully we'll have some time for Q&A. So by the end of this webinar, you'll have a better understanding of the national parks as a vacation destination. So for those of you guys that don't know us well, Best Cruises and Tours is a family-owned travel agency that's been in business for over 32 years in central New Jersey. We have sent over 160,000 of your friends and neighbors on vacations all over the world, and quietly are one of the largest volume independent travel agencies in the state. We are members of the Better Business Bureau, rated A+, and we have achieved top producer status with most of the major tour and travel suppliers. But our most important endorsements come from our thousands of satisfied clients. Our number one source of new business is repeat clients and their referrals. We are successful because of our dedicated commitment to service. I have been working for Best Cruises and Tours for 28 years, and I've had the opportunity to escort customers on trips all around the world. I'm heading to Africa this September. I've escorted tours to Alaska, Canadian Rockies, Ireland, Greece, river cruises on the Danube and Rhine rivers, and of course, the national parks. So I escorted my first tour about 15 years ago, and my first national parks tour about 12 years ago. I immediately fell in love with the national parks. These extraordinary destinations, they're right in our own backyard, right here in the US, and they are absolutely breathtaking. I remember overlooking Inspiration Point in Bryce Canyon and thinking, everybody needs to see this. And I've been passionate about sharing that experience ever since then. I've escorted several national parks tours over the years, and last year I decided that I wanted to escort another one in 2027. I started looking over different options, and I decided that although the regular brochure tours were fantastic, I wanted to create my own custom itinerary. I've partnered with Globus on all of my land-based escorted tours. So I called their offices and asked if they would be willing to allow me to create a custom national parks itinerary exclusive to Best Cruises clients. I wanted to create the best national parks tour itinerary on the market. I wanted to stay in each location for 2 nights whenever possible, on the best properties in the best locations. I wanted to include the most popular activities, even some that are usually optional, and I wanted to do it with the best tour company, with the best guides. That is how our exclusive Best Cruises American West National Parks tour was born. So I'm going to turn the webinar over to my co-host, Justyna, who will tell you all about Globus, and then to Andrew, who will go over the details of our custom tour, and I'll be back a little later on. Take it away, Justyna.
Thank you so much, Randy. Thank you for all of you joining us on this Thursday evening to learn about the tour, the national parks, to hear from Andrew firsthand. He's doing this almost every week. Lucky you, Andrew. And we all hope we can join next year and be with you on that wonderful tour. We are very proud and happy to be working with Best Cruises and tours. Randy has so much passion about this that is really coming out of her ears. She's professional, and I gotta tell you, I never been on the national park tour, and I want to go. Just hearing her and Andrew talking about it, it's just something that I've been researching all day long, and I hope I can join all of you. So let's talk a little bit about Globus and who we are and how we started. Let me try to change. So the power of touring, as you know, there's a lot of logistic, a lot of planning that comes to play, especially for national parks, for any tour, as a matter of fact. And we've been doing this for almost 98 years. Myself, I've been in the travel industry for plus 20 years in different hotels, different tour operators, and now with Globus, seeing how they really do with a heart and how they have the best in the business. Starting with our tour directors, with our bus drivers, with our local tour guides, how we take you from place to place and really tell you the story, because it's important to be the storyteller and to really show you the place, not just to show you the map. So we do it great. For so many years, we're gonna be celebrating 100 years in not even 2 years. So hopefully there will be something epic for that. We'll keep you posted. But before we do that, I'll play a little video about how we started and when we come from.
It began with a dream, a small dream from a man on his rowboat on Lake Lugano. Antonio Montagazza had a vision of doing more than transporting goods across the lake. He dreamed of taking people across the globe. And in 1928, when he created Globus, Antonio exchanged his rowboat for motor coaches and initiated a ripple in travel that changed the world. By 1950, Globus expanded from Swiss day trips to Italian holidays. And with help from another entrepreneur, Werner Albeck, the company unveiled the world's first multi-country European touring vacations. In 1961, Globus created Cosmos for cost-conscious travelers, generating another ripple of change. And over the next few decades, Globus and Cosmos expanded to Africa, Australia, North America, and Asia. By 2004, the ripple from Antonio's rowboat led the company back to its roots, to make waves on the rivers of Europe with the launch of Avalon Waterways. In 2011, Avalon changed the tide of cruising again with the world's first sweet ship, Then, a fleet of sweet ships, all while elevating cruising. All the while, Globus continued to innovate touring, taking travelers beyond the globe's go-to landmarks to uncover undiscovered towns and coasts without crowds, leading wayfarers to extraordinary moments and the memories waiting for them. Today, the ripples Antonio's dream inspired are at the heart of everything we do. From one rowboat to 95 years of fulfilling travel dreams across the globe, the Globus family of brands continues to row toward awe and wonder. This is how we row. Feel the current.
So everything started in Switzerland, in Lugano, by a beautiful lake. And now it continues all around the globe. As you can see, we have quite a few vacations to choose from, over 530 on 6 continents and 78 countries. We are not stopping with Europe. We are not stopping with national parks. We are really all around the globe, not only on the coach bus, but also on the river. So quite a few destinations to choose from. Of course, national parks are becoming so popular last year and this year even more, that let me tell you, even 2027 is selling out already. So we have a lot of interest, a lot of families, but not only family reunion groups, corporate that want to go to national parks. People are realizing that they're traveling all this far destination for 15, 20 hours, but they have this wonder of beautiful places here in the United States. So I'm happy that Randi was able to put the custom tour just for you and reserve the space for what is Andrew gonna talk to you about. Just few things that I wanted to point that with Globus, you are in the best hands. You are in the modern, newest coach buses with the best staff, of course. We have the VIP for you, skip the lines. We have as many meals as possible with breakfast and a lot of dinners. We pick very carefully the hotels, the lodges, the places that you guys stay. We have a long-term relationship with all those places that you know you are having really the best location with us. And a lot of places are 4 or 5 star. It depends on the location, of course. This is national parks, so you know how hard it is to get a hotel and how far in advance. For us, because we've been doing this for so long and we get so many tours, the partnership is like very mutual. Of course, you're getting #1 expert when it comes to our tour guides and the local tour guides. Free Wi-Fi on the bus, so you can connect, organize your pictures as I do, or maybe sometimes even answer to an email if you wish. And all that good stuff that is included. You don't have to worry about driving, going from point A to point Z. Everything is kind of catered to you on the golden plate. All you have to do is to show up and smile with your camera, with your open heart, and to see those beautiful views. So this is how we roll. As I mentioned before, everything gets prepared. You don't really have to spend a lot of money out of pocket because a lot of attractions and everything we're doing are prepaid with the price of the tour. Tour directors and local guides, this is me talking and introducing you to Andrew that I know is here with us. I cannot see him yet, but this is the person that is the most special and precious on that tour. This is the storyteller. that knows all the in and outs on the tour, being with you, the best local restaurants or maybe bars, or the hidden spots where to take the picture, or maybe the person that you go to and ask for help for the local attraction. I feel like it's your storytellers slash concierge slash best friends for those 7, 8, 9 days that you guys are together. When I was in Croatia with our local tour guide, I gotta tell you, we had 35 people maybe on the bus, and we still have a WhatsApp group going. We become so close together with our tour director that we already planning and talking about the new destination. There were tears, there were little gifts at the end of the tour. This is how we connect and this is how we see the world. That's why I am super grateful for Andrew to making the time to be here with us tonight and to tell you the story and paint the picture of this exclusive national park tour himself. So without more introduction from me, I will give it to Andrew. I don't know if I can see you, but Andrew, please let me know if you're here.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks Randy for having me, and Justyna. It's an honor, and I'm joining you from the Woodlands, Texas. Nice weather here today, and I'm excited. I'm excited about this tour. The company approached me about a couple months ago, and they said, "Take a look at this, and what do you think about this tour?" And this is what Randy put together on paper. And when I read it on paper, I literally said, "This is perfection." Like how she knew the routing, the places, and how to go about them in what order. This is perfection, totally. And I'm excited to be the one leading this trip because I know it very well, inside and out, starting in Bozeman, Montana. Bozeman, Montana is a very interesting little town. It's actually a small city, but it's unique. They actually nickname it Bose Angeles, and they call it Bose Angeles because a lot of the folks from California have moved there, particularly with money. A lot of stars, Hollywood celebrities. And the town has changed a lot. There's a lot more bars, restaurants, saloons, but they still play the main type of music. It's two types of music, actually, country and Western. And anyhow, it's a fun place to start your trip in. You'll be in awe flying in from wherever you're coming from, New Jersey or different places, into the small city atmosphere and just see how warm and friendly everybody is in Bozeman. Bozeman's a great place. It's named after John Bozeman. There's so much history in the state of Montana. The original territorial capital, Virginia City. Matter of fact, the city is called Bozeman, named after John Bozeman, and he's the one that established the Bozeman Trail that ran from Virginia City, Montana, the original territorial capital, all the way pretty much up to the plains of the Dakotas, but definitely by Fort Laramie, which is in Wyoming. So the Native American history from the Sioux, Arapaho, Lakota, Ogallala, Arikara, Arapaho, you name it. There's over 500 Native American Indian tribes in the country. And a lot of that Plains Indian history is right there in the heart of Montana. So it's a great place to start your trip. Then from there, we're going to go along this beautiful stretch along the Gallatin Mountains. And the Gallatin Mountains are named after Albert Gallatin. He's basically the former Secretary of Treasury under the Jefferson administration back in 1803. So that whole mountain range is named after him. And that's a great way to come into Yellowstone National Park. And this trip has, of the 63, there's 63 national parks in this country. This one includes 5, including the world's very first, Yellowstone, March 1st, 1872. That's pretty special to go into Yellowstone. So we start off with Yellowstone, add the Grand Teton National Park to that. Then we head down to Bryce National Park, Zion, and we end in a place called the Grand Canyon. One of the 7 natural wonders of the world is the Grand Canyon. And what's the other 6? We'll get to that. I'll let you kind of think on that in just for a little bit. But anyway, starting off in Bozeman, we head to Yellowstone. Now, Yellowstone has 5 entrances to get into the park. I particularly like to come in what's called the northeast entrance. And the reason is you're going to go through what's called Cook City, Montana, in through what's known as the Lamar Valley. The Lamar Valley is dubbed and nicknamed the Little Serengeti of Yellowstone. Now, I know Randy says she's got a trip to Africa coming up. I've actually done 37 safaris over my years on the continent of Africa, and they're incredible. The big five, the little five, I've seen them all. But there's something unique that most people don't even factor. We have a small Serengeti right in the heart of your own backyard in the United States, and that's Yellowstone. The greater Yellowstone ecosystem is 2.2 million acres, and it makes up home for animals such as bears. There's roughly close to 300 grizzly bears in Yellowstone's greater ecosystem today, about 1,000 black bears, which are very common. And then we have animals like what's pictured. That's a pronghorn antelope named by Lewis and Clark on the expedition of 1804 to 1806. They saw the animal that's pictured and they said, look at that antelope with the prong-shaped horns. And that's how the animal got its name. Second fastest land animal in the world. Guaranteed we will see pronghorn antelope and talk all about them. They're very unique animals. Over roughly close to 5,000 head of bison that roam freely in Yellowstone. And everybody gives credit to the grizzly bear as being the main animal of Yellowstone, but it's actually the what? Bison is the main symbol for the actual park itself. Then anywhere between 15,000 and 25,000 head of elk in the park. And what's awesome is the time of year that this trip is going to go is in September. What does that mean? That means that's almost mating season. The last 2 weeks of September into the first week of October. That's when it gets really interesting, where the males start to fight, and then you start having the mating season kick in. Chances of seeing thousands of head of elk are going to be really good. So anyway, we head into the park. And then, as Justyna said, hotels. One of the great things about us is we have what's called utilization. Utilization guarantees us rooms inside Yellowstone National Park. What that means is you're going to be inside the park, or at night, because you don't have TVs. That's right. We don't have TVs. No, not in Yellowstone. You don't need them. Why don't you need them? Because you're listening for the sounds, the animals, the wolves howling. If we're lucky, we might see some wolves, but you might hear them. The other animals, you'll definitely hear the elk if they're close by, bugling all night long. That makes it so exciting. And yeah, you're immersed in the park. And because we have so many tours that go to Yellowstone, that guarantees us the rights to rooms. Some of our competitors stay outside the park where the motels are. And that's fine if you want gas stations and motels. But if you want nature and be immersed in the park, you got to go with us because we have that utilization, as Randi and both Justyna were saying. So Yellowstone, we stay in several properties, but one of the most famous is what's pictured, and that is Old Faithful Geyser. Old Faithful makes up one of 300 active geysers in the park, and that's the upper geyser basin that you're looking at right now. And Old Faithful goes off about every 90 minutes in eruption. Duration anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes, and it shoots up upwards of 70 feet to about 130 feet in height, and expels about roughly 3,000 to 8,000 gallons of water at the vent. It's real impressive. So the hydrothermal features, geothermal features, the bacterium, the thermophiles, Yellowstone is an amazing ecosystem. It's actually one of the world's, if not the world's, largest super active volcano, which means it can erupt anytime, but just not while we're there. Anyhow, last eruption about 638 to 640,000 years ago. But because of that eruption, gives you the hot springs, the fumaroles, the geysers, the mud pots, all of these things that we're going to see. And as Justyna said, what we do is instead of stopping at every little roadside sign that you'll see, we go to the most important places, the highlights, and behind the scene places where the best pictures are. We know where they are. And that makes the day more efficient, better for you, and you get to see the best stuff. So anyway, we'll head to Yellowstone. We have 2 nights. Because we have 2 nights, we get to do what's called the Grand Loop. That's the upper and the lower, and it's in the figure shape, the road of a figure 8, the number 8. So on our way out of Yellowstone, we're going to head to another cool place. Now, Yellowstone's 2.2 million acres. It's massive in size. It's not the largest national park of the 63 in the United States. That title goes to Wrangell St. Elias National Park up in northeast Alaska. But Yellowstone's up there at 2.2 million acres. But this is called the Grand Teton National Park, and it's about 310,000 acres, a little smaller, but it's home to the front range of what you'll see in this picture, the Grand Tetons. Those are 16 jagged peaks sculpted by glaciers, including the tallest, which is the Teton Peak at 13,770 feet. And pictured is a barn. Now, you might recognize that barn. That is a very iconic barn. You got the sage flats in the background with the blue sage, and then you get the lupins if they're in bloom. But picture is that barn, and if you remember a movie, it was called with Alan Ladd, Shane. In the opening scene, the little kids on the rails on the barn, and Shane's on the horse going in the distance with those mountains in the background. He's yelling out, "Shane, Shane, come back." So that's actually, it's still there. That's a little row called Mormon Row with the old historic houses and barns. We'll actually stop there for you just because it's Randy's tour, and we'll make it happen. But that's a really beautiful, iconic spot. And one of the best photos of the Grand Tetons, actually. Again, they're 40 miles in length, that stretch that goes across the Grand Teton Range. Then from there, we're going to head to the mountain town called Jackson Hole, named after mountain man, trapper, trader Davy Jackson. He was one that was crazy enough to bring a wagon pulled by mules over Teton Pass with no roads. That was really dangerous, but he did it, and they named the town after him. Jackson's a fun, colorful town, lots of restaurants, everything from hamburger stands, tacos to high-end steaks. The Gun Barrel being one of the most famous restaurants because of its types of food, everything from wild boar, rattlesnake sausage, to elk, bison, these unique types of foods that they have is really a good place, and really good ribeyes as well. So you might like and enjoy the Gun Barrel. But there's also the $1 Million Cowboy Bar, where you go up to the bar and you don't sit on stools, you sit on horse saddles. That sounds fun, but after about 30 minutes, you want to finish a drink pretty quick. Gets uncomfortable. And then the town itself is fantastic. The second day in Jackson, Randi did it right. She gave you a completely free day. And that's great because there's so many things to do. You've got the National Wildlife Museum of Art, which is incredible. It's mostly underground, and the building itself looks like a castle from Inverness, Scotland, the way they did the building. And it's just sculptures of animals and portraits and paintings, and it's beautiful. You spend 2-3 hours there easy. Then some of you might want to do the optional float trip down the Snake River. It's the Snake River is impressive. It's a tributary of the mighty Columbia River, and it starts in the state of Wyoming. It flows through Idaho and joins up with the Columbia in Oregon. And you're going to do a 13-mile stretch of the Snake River, not the 1,036-mile stretch, but just 13 miles. If you did the whole thing, it would take about 2 weeks. So we'll just do 13 miles. On that 13 miles, you have a very good chance of seeing American bald eagles, almost guaranteed. My highest count was about 70 one year. Moose, we had a moose cross the river right in front of us one time. That was so neat to see. They are excellent swimmers, by the way. Then the American white pelican, river otters, to beavers. You never know. You'll definitely see some beaver activity. All right, so Grand Teton National Park is impressive. You'll really enjoy that. Then the next day, we're going to go from there and make our way to Salt Lake City. And we're going to go through this beautiful little part of Utah, the old historic section, as we come into to Utah. We'll stop at the Capitol building in Utah. It is the state capital of the state of Utah, Salt Lake City, the only 4-letter city in the world. And then from there, we'll make our way from Salt Lake City. After a night there, you get a chance to relax and enjoy. We'll do a little bit of an orientation tour. Then we're going to head south and make our way into this beautiful canyon. There's a mountain there called Big Rock Candy Mountain. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but there's a song by Burl Ives called Big Rock Candy Mountain. That mountain actually exists. So we'll do a photo stop there. Then we're going to go along this canyon along a small river, and we're going to stop at this old historic house out in the middle of the field. That's where Robert Leroy Parker used to live as a kid, along with his 12 brothers and sisters. He was the oldest of 13. And we all know who Robert Leroy Parker was, right? And his sidekick, Harry Longabaugh? If not, the name Butch Cassidy might sound familiar, and the Sundance Kid. Robert Leroy Parker was basically Butch Cassidy. You'll see the house where he was raised and what have you. We'll tell you all that story and that history. Then from there, we're going to head to one of my favorite national parks on the trip, and it's one of the smaller ones. It's only 36,000 acres, and that is Bryce Canyon National Park. Randi mentioned that she was in awe and inspired by the name Inspiration Point, right? Looking at the scenery. You will be too. There's not enough adjectives to describe Bryce, especially if you haven't seen it. The hoodoos, the pinnacles, the grottos, the Paunsaugunt Cliff. It just is absolutely stunning. The colors, the minerals, the manganese, the magnesium, the leached colors from sandstone just bring it to life. And what's pictured, that tall rock balanced on the very top, is the iconic rock that makes up the park, and that's called Thor's Hammer. So we're going to definitely see that. Along the trails at Bryce, there's some short walking trails, a little bit more strenuous, something for everybody, but we'll make sure everybody has a choice on what they want to do. And then there's just benches along the rim where you can sit and relax and just take in the grandeur of what you're seeing. All right, the next day is one of my favorite days. We're going to head through the little side roads of Utah until we come to the east entrance of what's called Zion National Park. Zion's pretty impressive. It's about 146,000 acres and became a national park back in 1919, same year as the Grand Canyon. They both became national monuments back in 1909 and national parks in 1919. And Zion has two sections, two different types of geology. You've got the upper, created by what's called cross-bedding. That's tidal flows of moving sand over millions of years when the ocean was once there. Then you have the lower. The lower is carved out by the Virgin River that flows into Lake Mead and then flows into the Colorado River. Two different types of geology in the same area. That is so impressive. You're going to see the giant alcoves, the white-capped dunes and mountains. It's just unbelievable, Zion National Park. You'll have some free time there, some hiking activities that you can do, short, easy, moderate. And then at the lodge, you can sit in rocking chairs right out in front and take in the views. Something for everybody is what we always say. All right, then from Zion, we're going to head to Lake Powell. Lake Powell was named after Major John Wesley Powell, who started off down the Green River in southern Wyoming, central Wyoming, actually, on the Green River, which is a tributary of the mighty Colorado River. And he did an expedition there back in 1868, 1869, where he went through the entire 277 miles of the Grand Canyon, from Lee's Ferry to Dolan Springs. And that lake is named after him. It's one of several lakes that make up the Colorado River and the Colorado Plateau. It's not the largest. Lake Mead is the largest, but it's one of the most impressive is Lake Powell. You're going to be staying at a very nice hotel right there on the lake, and the views are incredible. And one of my favorite activities is you'll have some free time. There's a little nature path, an eco trail that goes 4 miles. You can go as far as 200 feet to the full 4 miles out and back. It's up to you. But on that eco trail, you'll see jackrabbits, cottontail rabbits, lizards, chipmunks, squirrels, and my favorite, the state bird of the state of New Mexico, and that is the roadrunner. Hopefully you'll see some roadrunners. They're pretty common. Might come across a coyote. Very, very rare because they don't like people. They don't like your smell. They don't like your vibration. But rattlesnakes, if you see one, I'd be shocked. But they're out there. You got to know what to look for, but unlikely to see one. And that eco trail is just incredible. So much wildlife, colors, flora, cactus, fauna, and it's just real pretty. Then the highlight for Lake Powell is something called Antelope Slot Canyon. That's this eroded out sandstone cave, basically, that was cut by water, and it was carved and shaped and sculpted by water, giving it those colors and shapes and patterns over different periods of time. It's about 25 to 40 feet in height, and you walk through that canyon, and it's unlike anything in the world you'll ever see. It's a lifetime experience, is Slot Canyon. All right, then the next day, you're going to do a day trip out to Monument Valley, pictured right there. Now, Monument Valley is not a national park. It's not a national monument. It's a tribal park. It is solely in 2 states, Arizona and Utah. And it belongs to the largest Native American Indian nation in the country, and that is the Navajo, also known as the Dene. The Navajo Nation is 24,000 square miles. That's 17 million acres. Sweeping plains, pikes, peaks, and what you see, buttes and mesas. And it was pretty much a dry, desolate area in the early 1900s until one day a gentleman by the name of Harry Goulding decided to go to Hollywood and invite the directors and producers and scouting directors to come out and see if they would make Western films. All of them denied him, saying it's too far, we have no interest, and they chose Southern Arizona instead, places like Old Tucson Studios. Well, one director agreed, John Ford. He came out, fell in love with the area. In 1939, he had his writers come up with the first film. You might know it as Stagecoach. Actor Andy Devine and John Wayne. Stagecoach was the first film in 1939 at Monument Valley, followed by Searchers and She Wore a Yellow Ribbon in terms of John Ford's movies. But there's been many others, from Back to the Future Part 3, Maverick, 1,000 Ways to Die in a Million Ways to Die in the West, oh, you name it, Transformers, so many films, including his recent commercials by car companies and what have you. So it's a really neat trip out to that. And you'll learn about the history, the people, where they came from, why they chose that dry, desolate, semi-arid desert, and how they lived. There's so much history to the Navajo Nation. Then you'll appreciate the story of their men who volunteered for the United States military, serving as Marines during World War II, and they used their special talent, their language. Their language was very unique, and the Japanese that were very adept at breaking codes could not break the Navajo code. They were instrumental in transmissions of messages, receiving and sending messages using the use of their language. So they're known as the Navajo code talkers. You'll learn all about that history and what they've done and everything else. All right, then from there back to Lake Powell, then we're going to head along through Marble Canyon to one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, and that is the Grand Canyon. So I'll say it again, 7 natural wonders. So that excludes pyramids and man-made objects, right? Like the Great Wall of China. Those are the 7 wonders of the world. The Grand Canyon is one of 7 natural wonders of the world. It's 12 to 18 miles wide. It's a mile deep, 5,200 feet, and 277 miles across. And it was carved out by the mighty Colorado River and other elements such as flash flooding, water, cracking, fault lines. There's a lot of variables that make up how it was formed, but it's very, very impressive. So if it's one of the natural wonders of Grand Canyon, what's the other 6? Great Barrier Reef in Australia, the harbor at Rio de Janeiro, the Putin volcano in Mexico. Then you've got Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. I've been there 3 times. Then you've got the Northern Lights and Mount Everest. That makes up the 7 natural wonders of the world. And the Grand Canyon, again, is one of them. So you're going to have a lot of opportunity to do some hiking, walking along the canyon, and just checking out the grandeur and how vast it is and the different colors and the types of geology in different periods of time. You're talking about almost 2 billion years old as some of the oldest rock found at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. So it's very impressive. Then the next day, we're going to head down this gorgeous scenic drive called 89A, dubbed one of the most scenic highways, beautiful scenic highways by former President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And that takes us to the town community of Sedona. It used to be an old army fort in the late 1800s, and it was called Schnebly Station. They had a post office and the fort. But then they changed the name to Sedona after Mr. Schnebly's wife, thinking it sounded better, and it does. And it's a wonderful place to be. You are in a heart surrounded by giant red rocks, and the colors, the pinyon pine trees, the ponderosas, the junipers that just make up the colors and blend in, and the rocks are just beautiful. And there's lots of vortexes, these natural phenomena, the occurrences of energy. We'll talk about that. Some people say they see aliens, but beautiful place to be is Sedona. And then that's a really good place to end the trip. And then the next day, down to Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport, where you have every airline possible that flies in and out of Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. So on paper, without question, this trip was very well put together. There's not much I need to add to it. When I sent it back, I said, can I run it? That was pretty much my only response. And Randy's put a lot of heart, a lot of time, a lot of passion into this. And you'll see that as a culmination of good work that was very well done. So anyway, I'm excited. I can't wait to run it. I love animals, history. You'll learn that. And to me, life is about living, because when you're living, life is about learning, because when you're learning, you're living. And that's how we bring the stories, like Justyna said. We bring everything together. So I'm really excited, happy to be a part of this, and I can't wait. Thanks, Andy.
Andrew, thank you. Thank you for bringing my tour to life. You're awesome. And that is why I requested Andrew to be the tour guide for our tour. He's going to co-guide with myself and Rob. And makes you want to get on a plane and get out to Bozeman sooner rather than later. So I know that some of you may not be able to go away for 14 days, or maybe the date doesn't work for you, or you might be looking for a different itinerary. Because of that, I picked out 4 alternative tours, and I went to Globus. I asked them if they could hold space for me on each one of those tours for several different dates and if they could give us some pricing incentives, and they agreed. I'm not going to spend too much time going over the itineraries for these tours. I'll briefly discuss each one, but you'll receive an email with all the details, and you can contact our office to discuss your options and pick the tour that works best for you. So the first tour that I picked is a tour called Canyon Country Adventure. It's an 8-day tour. It departs from Phoenix and it ends in Las Vegas. So you start in Phoenix, you feature stops in Sedona, Grand Canyon, Lake Powell, Bryce, and Zion National Park, and it ends in Las Vegas. The second tour that I picked out is a new tour called Sunny Days, Starry Nights, America's Rocky Mountains. So this is a new itinerary. It's mostly concentrated in Montana. The tour starts in Billings. It stops in Yellowstone, Big Sky, Nevada City, Virginia City, Missoula, Whitefish. There's an excursion to Glacier National Park, and it ends in Whitefish. The third tour is a tour called America's National Parks. This is a 10-day tour. It starts in Rapid City, South Dakota. It has excursions to Crazy Horse and Mount Rushmore. It heads down to Deadwood and Sheridan. It's got a visit to Little Bighorn Battlefield, a stay in Cody, Wyoming, then on to Yellowstone for 2 nights with a stop at Grand Teton. And then 2 nights stay in Jackson, Wyoming, and it actually ends in Salt Lake City. And the final tour that I picked is a tour called Enchanting Canyonlands. It is an 11-day tour. It starts in Las Vegas. It heads to Grand Canyon for 2 nights, then on to Lake Powell with an excursion to Monument Valley, and on to Moab, Utah with an excursion, to Arches National Park, Canyonlands National Park, and Horse Point State Park. You'll then head to Capitol Reef National Park and on to Bryce Canyon and then Zion. And this tour ends in Las Vegas. So sort of bits and pieces, a couple different things, but not quite as inclusive as the tour that I put together. And certainly you will find, if you're doing your research, that there really are no tours out there that combine both Yellowstone and Grand Canyon. And I wanted to put that together in a tour, and I wanted to make sure that we were starting in beautiful Bozeman and ending in beautiful Sedona. So I just want to give you guys a little recap. In this webinar, we heard about the national parks, we heard about GLOBUS and best cruises and tours. Just to remind everybody, if you didn't look at the materials, the pricing for my exclusive tour is $71.39 per person, and that's for a double occupancy room. I just want to let you guys know that we've had an overwhelming response to this tour, and we have very, very, very limited availability on it. We are currently working with GLOBUS to see if we can get an additional date confirmed for mid-August of 2027, but we have not had confirmation on that yet. So we're going to be sending each one of you guys an email with links to all of the information, including pricing, tour itineraries, preferred travel dates for everything we went over, and more. You should receive it within the next 48 hours. Our show special pricing, which is excellent pricing for all of these tours, and also if somebody decides they want to go in 2026, we also will be able to get you excellent pricing for that as well. So we have these show special pricing through April 23rd, guys, 2 weeks from today, okay? You're going to see that our contact information is on the screen. So please feel free to reach out by phone or email. You can visit us on the web at www.bestcruises.com. We will connect you with one of our national parks experts that can answer all your questions and help you get your vacation organized. If you are interested in my escorted tour, I recommend that you reach out to me directly because of the fact that we just have such limited availability. So you can use this 800 number, 800-576-2378. I am at extension 102, or you can call the office and ask for me, and I'll get you connected to me. And so I want to see now if anybody's got any questions. I don't see anything in the chat room. So if you guys have questions, you can post them to the chat and we'll be able to answer them. And if I don't see any questions come up, please feel free to reach out to us in the office and we will be able to help get you organized or answer any questions that you have. And I'm really looking forward to sharing this experience. I know some of you guys that are on here already signed up for the tour, and we're going to have the best time. And Andrew is just the best guide, and I'm so glad I snagged him. With if I don't have any questions, I will let everybody go for the evening, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Have a great night and take care. Night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.